Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. It's been a while, but we are finally back talking about Jurassic Park comics again. This new story is titled The Devils in the Desert, and actually happens to take place predominantly on the mainland. With InGen's genetic creations bleeding into the lives of everyday normal folk, I think we can expect a lot of chaos headed their way. Alright, this has been a long time coming, so I think it's best if we just jump in. A horse gallops into town bearing a frightened young messenger. The boy storms into the sheriff's office, desperate for help. His name is Tyler Franklin, and his father has just sent him to notify the authorities of some terrible cow mutilations that are taking place on their family ranch. Sheriff Tobias takes the boy's word, and readies himself for whatever may be out there in the southern quarter of their little town. A Native American officer by the name of Deputy Jackson overhears the hubbub about cow mutilations and finds himself quite perplexed. It's too early in the season for wolves or coyotes to be coming down from the foothills. He doesn't like this news at all. Tobias tells Jackson to get Tyler's horse back to the ranch safely, while the boy leads him out to where these mutilations are taking place. It doesn't take long for the sheriff to locate the town's newest problem, once their car comes across the grisly remains of several animal carcasses. It's at this moment that the boy becomes restless. This was where he last left his father when he'd been sent off to find Tobias. He started to call out for his dad and ran from the car and into the bloody fields that used to be the lands of 15 head of cattle. Suddenly the boy comes across his father's horse, or at least what's left of it. Sheriff Tobias has to hold Tyler back from this new disturbing discovery. The boy doesn't like seeing their family horse torn in half. He knows he needs to get Tyler back home immediately. Upon reaching the ranch, Jackson asks Tobias what he found out there, but he's told it isn't exactly looking good. It turns out that Mr. Franklin never came home from the trip he took his son with in the southern quarter. This makes the sheriff suggest that both Tyler and his mother Sarah head into town to stay with their parents. Something's going on out here that's a lot worse than cow mutilations. Deputy Jackson comes back out to the bloody fields with Tobias to investigate the mess. Tracks suggest that it may have been the result of a stampede. Something spooked the animals down here before the slaughter. Can't be wolves or coyotes either, because no tracks run parallel to the herd. Something else did this. It's at this point in time where they come across a peculiar three-toed footprint unlike any they'd ever seen. Jackson finds a clearer impression, but it's too weird. Four-footed, but some kind of knuckle walker or something. After this discovery, they both decide to head back to the office and call around to other farmers and ranchers to get to the bottom of this. They'll go ahead and make some casts of the tracks and send them to experts for further study. The decision to leave also comes with a decision to tell Sarah the bad news. They couldn't find any evidence of where her husband may be. Tobias feels terrible about being the bearer of bad news, but he felt it was the best way to lay it out realistically for what it really was. As sad as this is to Sarah, she and her family appreciate the honesty. And upon leaving their residence, Tobias is stopped by Sarah's father. In short, he tells the sheriff that even if his daughter's husband doesn't turn up, don't forget that Sarah's always said that the only good thing she got out of that marriage was Tyler, but they're strictly Catholic, and that makes divorce out of the question. Tobias still says he'd do everything in his power to find her husband, and the old man says he wouldn't have it any other way. Early morning, a group of agitated ranchers get ready for some coffee. It's been a long night of no excitement and they're ready to leave, until the herd starts to get a little agitated, and something faint makes a noise on the wind. They see it! The men open fire on something that's come over to feed on their livestock. It's a dinosaur. They can't believe it's a living dinosaur. Teeth surround the ranchers. Their uneventful shift has just changed. Other bad news comes in the form of the sheriff being notified of Mr. Franklin's remains being found. Somehow they've been picked up across the state line, which means this is now a job for the feds. Agents Kowalski and Harding soon find themselves in front of the police department. After introducing themselves, they ask for Jackson and Tobias to show them where this mess started. And upon their arrival, even they can't explain what exactly this case may be. Deputy Jackson says there are probably 4 attackers. They sent casts up to the university in the hopes of getting more answers. During their conversation, even more bad news comes in over the radio. Looks like something really terrible has been found in the Salter spread. It's the remains of Charlie Gillett. We got another body to add to the kill count. This makes the feds worried enough to lease a chopper in the hopes of covering the area far better. Kowalski takes off with a local pilot who's been sent out to survey the land. Meanwhile, Harding and Tobias hop in the car to make a good ground sweep. It doesn't take long for Kowalski to see something suspicious looking on some rocky terrain. The chopper goes up and over into a narrow canyon to investigate. This makes it a bit harder for the car to follow their every movement, which turns out to be quite unfortunate. Soon screaming and static erupt from Harding's radio. Kowalski is heard yelling that they see it. It's bleeding like it's been shot, and it's coming straight for them. It's going to hit the blades! The chopper gets downed, and a trail suggests that something dragged itself away from the crash before tumbling into the river. They've got a serious problem here. Back into town, they're greeted by a couple of individuals from the university they'd sent the prince off to. Dr. George and Monica Ramirez introduced themselves to the officers. They'd love some information on how they managed to get casts of an animal that's been extinct for 65 million years. Not too far from there, a group of hikers make their way along a ridge. The leader sees something up ahead, something way more interesting than anything they've seen so far on the strip. The closer they get, the worse the smell becomes. His friends don't like where this may lead, but it's a little too late to turn back. Well, the first thing I thought about upon reading this issue was honestly Tremors. I gotta say, I think that setting a Jurassic story in the middle of the desert and leaving normal everyday people to deal with the drama makes for a pretty fun story. I don't really know where this is headed just yet, but the Pteranodon reveal and FBI investigation have really gotten my attention. The artwork is considerably better than the last story we covered as well, so this could be a pretty fun ride. But those are just all of my thoughts on this single issue. I'd love to hear what all of you think about this episode in the comments down below. Now before I go, I want to thank my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Words can't really express how awesome it is to have you guys help me build this thing up, and I seriously am extremely thankful for everything that you guys do for me. It honestly means the world. Now I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and hope that you all enjoy today's content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like, and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys. And as always, take it easy.